Hello. It's been a while since I've uploaded on YouTube, and I'm excited to post this video. A lot different from my previous videos, and this was my senior project here at ASU, so you can kind of think of this as like my thesis, I guess, in film school. And me and Jules have been working on this tirelessly for the last couple months. We've had shoots just go awful. I've had issues with my own technical capabilities with cameras, but I still delivered. I'm super happy how it turned out. I'm super proud of Jules. And yeah, it's his whole story about competing in the Ironman and his journey into becoming an Ironman competitor in triathlons, ultra triathlons. Put some respect on you, Jules. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This is 11:10. You are an Ironman!
Really, just a pinnacle of endurance is just your ability to withstand pain and suffering.
So first off, what inspired you to participate in the Ironman, and what has driven you through your training journey?
Athletics has like always been such a fucking huge part of my life since I was little. I mean, like the things that I excelled at when I was a kid and through like middle school and high school were always sports, and just general athletic training. And then when I got into the Navy, the reason why I wanted to join the Navy was to be in like a special warfare program that just required, high level running, high level swimming, And then when I got out of the Navy, and then when COVID hit, and it was all like simultaneously, like I get out of the Navy, COVID hits, and I'm trying to find a new career in tattooing, which is, I was self-employed, and I just completely dialed in on my career, and I stopped working out, I stopped exercising, I just generally led like a completely sedentary life and focused completely on my career, because that's what I thought I should be doing because no matter what I do, since I was young, my mom always said that I was unbelievably obsessive. And I don't like to say that I have obsessive compulsive disorder, because I don't like to make it my identity, but I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder multiple times throughout my life. So just because I'm like that, when I started my career, I fully invested myself 100% in that. But then in doing so, a couple of years down the road, I was the most unhealthy I'd ever been physically and mentally. I was overweight. I ate like crap just because of the convenience of like fast food or takeout, and I was always working. I would eat like garbage. I would sleep like garbage. I wouldn't do anything except my job. And granted, I became successful in my job, and I like to think that I did well at it. But in doing so, I completely sacrificed my physical and mental health. Because I had dialed completely in on my career, I had lost touch with the athletic side of my life. And I truly believe now, looking back on that, that's why I was so unhealthy mentally and physically. About a year ago, I decided that I needed to get back in shape. Rock climbing, whereas it's a great mental workout and a great workout on certain muscle groups. But so I was climbing, and then I decided that I wanted to get really good at climbing. And then I realized that I didn't possess the physical ability that I thought that I had from when I was younger, and hit a plateau in climbing. So then I decided that I was gonna start running again, because I used to be a really good runner. And I was like, I need a goal. So I signed up for a marathon, and then became fully invested in running, immediately started feeling better about myself, started feeling better physically, mentally. It was almost like I would run in the morning, and then the rest of the day, it was just like it would quiet the noise. The challenge of waking up every single day and doing something difficult physically was really beneficial to my mental health. I swam in the Navy. I swam as part of my delayed entry program to get into the Navy, and wanted to go down a special warfare program. And so I had an open water swimming background. Yeah, my buddy was talking about how he had signed up for an Ironman the next year. I had owned like a nice road bike, and that was my main method of transportation when I was in the Navy, and I had cycled hard a little bit. At first it was super intimidating, and I was like, oh, Ironman, like you hear that race and you think of, oh, that's the hardest race in the world. Like when you hear that someone's an Ironman, you immediately are like, whoa, that's incredible. That's literally the hardest possible race. And I didn't know too much about it. I had done like a little bit of triathlon training, short distance, while I was in the Navy. At first I was like, there's no way. And then the more that I talked to my friend about it and talked to him about him hiring a coach and his experience with starting training, I realized that I there's nothing more that I wanted in that moment than to be able to call myself an Ironman. And I was watching all these videos of people crossing the finish line and the announcer saying, da-da-da, you are now an Ironman. And then just like bursting into tears. And I just decided that day, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I did a little bit of research and realized that there was an Ironman 4.5 months out from when I was doing that research, and it was in Arizona, right near where I live, and was doing research about how Ironman Arizona is a really desirable course, and a lot of people come here to PR, and it has a lot of history. My buddy had signed up for an Ironman a year out. Upon the research that I was doing, it seemed like that was the standard for new triathletes. Like my parents always said I used to do, I just immediately wanted to go all in, and I was like, I'm not waiting a year. And so I signed up for it, being 4.5 months out. I mean, it was funny. I posted on Instagram that I was considering it, and the majority of my friends were like, that's crazy. They were like, and that just lit a fire in me that was like, okay, I'm doing this. And so then I altered my goals a little bit from, okay, I don't want to just finish anymore. Now let's think about competitive times. Let's think about competitive racing. Let's think about the idea of treating this like a competitive sport. And that's why I signed up for those other 2 triathlons ahead of time, to kind of see where I would place myself in the sport of triathlon. And then, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to podium at both of those races that I did. And so to answer your question, what does competing mean to me? I think that I don't want to be 10 years in the future and look back and be like, oh, I remember when I did that Ironman. What if I stuck with it? Or what if I really treated it like a sport? What if I tapped into that potential? Like, what could I have done? I didn't want to have those questions again, like I did about sports in my past. And so I decided that I wanted to approach it with a more competitive mindset. So essentially for the past 7 months, it's been no alcohol, obsessing over when you can get to bed, but also when you can wake up, because quite literally for the past 7 months, if I sit down on the couch for 30 minutes, I could mess up my entire day. Yeah. Because my day is, I wake up, I eat, I train, I shower, maybe train again, I go to work, I come home, maybe even have to train one more time. If not, eat, laundry, then I have school, then I have to get to bed at a certain time, because now my watch or my biodata is telling me, oh, you have more recovery tonight because of your workout yesterday than you did last night. So now I need 8.5 hours of sleep. And if I get to bed and I only get 6 hours, then my performance is messed up for the next following days. And so it's like every minute of the day is essentially planned out. And that's a really hard schedule for a lot of people, because you don't really get time to chill. I mean, granted, I can sit on the couch or I can sit on the floor while I'm stretching, and I can watch TV, or while I'm eating my meal, I can chill out, but really you don't get a whole lot of, at least with my schedule, pretty much zero time to just zone out, to relax. There's really no comfort in the past 7 months of my life. Yeah, so October 17th, I was supposed to do a 100-mile a century ride of the Ironman course. And yeah, I started down at the transition area for where the race is gonna be. And literally, I was on the road for 45 seconds to a minute. And there's like a horrible bike lane set up in this roundabout in downtown Tempe, where it's so easy for cars to drift into the bike lane. And I was biking and this car just like drifted into the bike lane right in front of me. And then I swerved, flipped over my handlebars, smashed my head and face real bad and my hip on my left side, and then like rolled, ended up, I'm scarring now, but ended up getting a bunch of road rash on my right side. Yeah, I was like completely, had no idea what happened. Still don't know if I blacked out or not. I believe I did, just because there's a memory gap between when I remember swerving out of the way of the car, and then like I remember walking around on the sidewalk like stunned, and some guy was like, "Hey dude, are you okay?" from like across the street. But yeah, and then my bike was mangled in the street and I was just like bleeding everywhere, and like we went back like a couple days later, and there was still my blood dried on the sidewalk and stuff. But yeah, just flipped over the handlebars. The car didn't hit me, but yeah, just swerved into the bike lane, flipped over the handlebars. Just huge bummer. Made hard impact with left side of the head, left cheekbone, right here, nose, hip. My hip, honestly, I thought my face and my head were gonna be the worst part. That's what I was the most concerned about, because I did get a concussion and I was pretty out of it. But now I'm still dealing with hip. I still have like deep bruising. When that happened initially, there were two different things were said. It was, all right, we got to pull out of the race, or we can still do the race, but you just got to focus on finishing, because the numbers that we wanted are now out the window. And I remember like multiple family members and multiple friends were like, "Oh, well, you have to pull out. Like, you just got a concussion, jacked your hip up, and your bike is all mangled." I was having so much anxiety in the MRI room, thinking about like, "Oh wow, like, am I not going to be able to do this race?" And granted, I'm doing Ironman Texas next April, but this whole like experience and all of the training and the decision to change my life, like it all kind of like its whole focal point is Ironman Arizona. And have it being literally 30 days out from the race, having that accident, I was like, oh, like they're right. They might be right. Like I might be screwed. But then the doctor, super nice doctor, she was like, I know like that. She was like, I can tell you're probably not going to listen to me. But she was like, you probably shouldn't train. You probably shouldn't do this race. But she was like, you're probably going to continue. And I was like, yeah. And I started getting my hip worked on and really focusing on recovery. Took it to a next level in terms of like really dialing everything in. Because before, obviously, like I had considered myself dialed in on everything. But then when this injury happened, it was like a blessing in disguise, because it made me really, really dial in on like, no, I'm making this race happen. I do not care. And I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that I bounce back as quickly as possible. Signed up for an Ironman with 4.5 months of a training block. If you take into consideration the marathon training I was doing, let's call it 6. But I had only picked up cycling 4.5 months out from the Ironman. So you put that in perspective, and then you think about the fact that the month of October, I pretty much got nothing productive done, because I had just run a trail marathon with an absurd amount of elevation gain at 8,500 feet in Flagstaff, and my central nervous system got destroyed. And then as soon as my central nervous system bounced back from that, I got in the accident. Dealing with injuries, central nervous system's messed up from that. So I had like a month where I wasn't hitting numbers, a very crucial month, in fact, probably the most important month. And I started really getting down on myself and being like, oh man, like I might have really, really screwed myself, engaging in those 2 activities, and I might not be able to do this. And that only lasted like a couple days. And then I was like, what the hell am I talking about? Like, I'm getting it done.
Do people get sick from this? Do you know?
I don't know, dude. My coach was like, take a bunch of vitamin C.
Yeah.
Penicillin shot after. Fucking disgusting.
So I'm just gonna get off the bike. All right, 4 miles. I know what it feels like. I don't even have to check my watch. I can pace myself off of 4 miles that well. 4 miles. All right, 4 miles is done. I got another 4 miles. And I just have to do that pretty much 6 times, and then just a little bit more. So if I can just, all right, you can do this 6 times, then I'll get it done. You feel like you can control every variable, and then if something is always gonna go wrong. And that's just, that's life, you know? My body's gonna give up at some point. That's a fact of the matter. Like, it's gonna be at some point during the run, my body is gonna just be like, nah, we're done. And my brain is gonna have to kick in and just get us to the finish line. And the shoe isn't gonna be the difference maker there. So the swim is gonna be about an hour. Like, it's short in comparison. So really it should just be like a warm up annoyance, an obstacle you just have to get over in order to get to the bike. But a lot of people fight their way through the swim and then they come out of the water gassed. I'm 24 years old. Endurance sports have you have more time to peak in endurance sports than you would say anaerobic sport like weightlifting or sprinting, track and field. You know, those sports where your fast twitch muscle fibers are at their prime, you know, late high school, early college career, and then like 24, 25. Really just the pinnacle of endurance is just your ability to withstand pain and suffering. And a lot of young people, or a lot of people my age, are not in a position in which they enjoy suffering. Or not even enjoy suffering, but want to be in a position where they're putting themselves in that. I mean, comfort is such a hot commodity these days that people only want comfort, people only strive for comfort. I mean, most of the time when you ask someone why they're doing their job or whatever, the goal is that so they can set themselves up for a cushier life. Laying down on the couch, you know, and eating your favorite food and watching your favorite show feels nice. It's relaxing, it feels nice on your body, it's all soft and warm. Yeah, a lot of people's goal or something that they equate with having a good life is the amount of time in which they're able to be comfortable, or the amount of time that they're able to relax.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked.
With a lot of young people, and a lot of young people my age, I think that comfort is the goal for a lot of people, and so the idea of suffering is the complete opposite of what they are striving for. Whereas what they don't realize is that suffering is what makes you a better human being and makes you more capable of putting yourself in situations where you can be successful.
Out to orange booze on the way back.
I'm less focused on times for this one and more focused on completing the task at hand, and just that being the most important factor, where it's I'm gonna go there tomorrow. My nutrition could get screwed up. I could tear a hamstring. I mean, God forbid all this. I might flip over the handlebars of my bike, but I'm finishing the race, hands down, no matter what. There's just all these, everyone's oh, you should just be completely okay with being exactly who you are right now. And I think that while maybe that comes from a positive mindset where people are oh, well, I'm just trying to be positive. I just want people to feel comfortable. I just want people to be happy with being themselves. I want people to just generally be happier and not feel insecure or whatever. While I understand that it comes from a positive place, I think this idea of like, oh, you should be completely happy with who you are is bullshit. I think that you should always be striving for more. And the moment, I think maybe the goal should be the moment where you can look back and be like look what I've done. I'm at a point where like this is what I was striving for. Comfortable with your health. Everyone should be completely happy in their skin, and oh, your mental health ailments and illnesses are part of you, and you should embrace them and accept them. And oh, I have depression. Oh, I am OCD. I am ADHD. Like this whole identity behind like, I don't know. I think that all of society right now kind of circles around not wanting to become great and like constantly giving yourself excuses for why you shouldn't push harder, why you shouldn't strive. In my own user error stupidity, I decided to order a new size wetsuit because my old wetsuit had ripped. Decided to order a new size wetsuit and then not try it on until practice swim the day before the race. And then realized that I don't need a medium, just a medium. I need a medium long because I just was completely constricted around the shoulders and couldn't get just like a full rotation and a full stroke length in my stroke, and just knew that that was going to add a significant amount of time to my swim. I mean, it was going to fatigue me way faster. The swim was now going to be a fight in itself. Yeah, morning of the race, I tried to make it fit as best as I could and just knew that, all right, buckle in, it's going to be a fight. And get in the water, almost immediately, my goggles are like knocked off my head. So I'm like swimming and then this one strap flies off and then the goggles like are falling off my face, reach up, grab them, have to like swim over to the side a little bit, out of the way, tread water, seal my goggles back on my face, and lost a little bit out of time just being in a standstill. And then what made that even more annoying was then once I went to get back in the water, obviously, you know, I'm going from treading water to try and get into my stroke, just slamming into me because they were coming from behind in their zone and in their full stroke. And I'm just like fighting for a spot to really be able to stretch out. It didn't happen for a while. And then my watch said I was about halfway into the swim and my shoulders were just dusted. I couldn't get like a full stroke and my stroke length was down because of the fatigue in my shoulders, and I was just trying to mentally keep it together and be like, okay, it's fine, you'll make it up on the bike, everything's gonna be fine.
Come on, Jules! Let's work, Jules! Go, Jules! Let's work! Let's work!
Cold bones. Yeah, that's my.
There's not a single moment that goes throughout my day where I'm not thinking, could I be doing more?
Eyes away like a ghost. Ooh, does she know that we think the same? Ooh, don't I cry, but I break that way.
I think Ironman and Ironman training has taught me and given me an ability to really, it's been a vessel for those feelings, because I think I struggled a lot for years with not having an outlet to put that in. And I think that's because I was in my career and I had kind of risen to a point where there wasn't much to go in my career, but yet I had thrown so much into it. And I think I really did need like kind of a physical vessel as opposed to just my career, and that physical vessel being athletics, at least for my own personal life. Ironman has given me an outlet for that feeling of, could I be doing more? Where it's like, no. Like when you're training for Ironman, it's like you get to a point where you're like, I can't do more. Like, and that's what the training is. You're training for 3 to 5 hours every day, and your body, and you know that like I put in the work today.
Does she know that we think the same? Ooh, don't I cry?
Callie Taylor from San Diego. You got 2 more, Callie. You're doing great. Ryan Brocious, lap number 3.
Just come home. You watch me burn, burn, burn. You watch me burn, burn, burn. You watch me. I don't even pity your pain. You can use it as a weapon, but I won't ever let it pull me back under again. I let you fool me once, but now I'm dead and gone. Oh, you're not a prophet. Have you forgotten that you gotta live? Oh, you're on your knees and you're trying to speak.
I get out on the bike course, and almost immediately, I pull over to the side. A ref pulls me over to the side. We realize that I'm not wearing a timing chip on my left leg. He tells me, he's like, "You don't have a timing chip." He's like, "I think you're gonna need a new one." He goes, run your bike on the sidewalk down to this tent down the street where there's like volunteers and referees, and ask them what to do, essentially. And so I literally am running in my cycling shoes down the sidewalk in front of spectators with my bike. I get to this tent, volunteers, a couple referees, and I'm like, I just got set down here by a referee. He said I might need a new timing chip or to talk to you. And they're saying, okay, it probably fell off either in transition or in the lake. They were trying to debate whether or not to just let me go, or if they needed to go find my chip in transition, or if they needed to make me a new one. And then I'm sitting there for probably 20, 25 minutes at this point. And I wait another 5-10 for timing to run me up another chip, and was literally just sitting there overwhelmed with the fact that just hundreds of people were passing, and that I was just stuck and I couldn't move, and I was just dreading what was going to happen to the final time, and was realizing that no matter what, I'm probably going to get like 30-35 minutes added to my overall time just because of some stupid chip error that, maybe it was me ripping off my wetsuit too fast, or maybe it did fall off on the lake. But I just kind of had to like wrestle with the idea that at that moment it was completely out of my control. And the only thing that I could control was really trying to make up time on this bike leg. And I don't know, maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because then I just went off like a fucking bullet and had a really fast bike split. I think after the 30-35 minute fiasco was all said and done, I biked like a 5:39, which with that course and with this insane headwind that was really messing with a lot of people, I was really happy with that. And I felt great. Yeah, ripped through the first 2 laps of this 3-lap course. And then the 3rd lap, we just get hit with this insane headwind. The reason why Ironman Arizona is a desirable bike course is because the whole out is a slow, kind of false flat, steady incline, and then like a big incline at the end, and then you just get to rip the entire descent back. And so you make up for that lost time while you were doing the climb out. But then 3rd lap, we just get hit with this insane headwind on the descent, so you can't make up for that time. And it was really discouraging and demoralizing a lot of people, but still was able to rip through. It's like mile 108, 4 miles left about, and chain drops on my bike. I get off my bike quickly, trying to figure out what's going on. I was like so flustered in the moment and freaking out that I didn't even recognize that my chain had dropped. I was just kind of like, what's going on with my bike? Yeah, got the chain back on. Definitely lost another couple minutes, but then just tore through the rest of the bike leg and got it done. Was super happy with the average speed. Felt great. Got off the bike, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this run, because it was just jello. I experienced jello legs like that on long brick workouts, but this was different. I like got off my bike to hand it off to the volunteer, and my first thought is, I have to run a marathon right now. Oh my God. But just muscled through it, got into transition. I was just like punching myself in the legs. I rubbed a bunch of BioFreeze on them, took some Tylenol, just trying to get my shoes on and get out onto the run course.
Both fell asleep on the floor. Then I left you there. We spent so many days alone, so I'll kill myself and make things fake. See, I just hate being tired, cause I can't seem to sleep anymore. And you and all your friends were all writing about me all alone. And do you sleep anymore? And do you sleep anymore? I would love to be patient, but I just won't wait. I'm getting sick and tired of the smile that I fake every day. And I would love to speak my mind, but I can't think straight. And I would love to feel alive again, but I'm not used
My nutrition could get screwed up. I could tear a hamstring. I mean, God forbid all this. My flip over the handlebars of my bike, but I'm finishing the race, like hands down, no matter what.
Let's go, Julian!
Ironman Arizona 2024. We finished in 12:52:47, I believe was the official time. Got out there and just essentially grit my teeth through a whole marathon. There were definitely periods where I was walking through aid stations, taking my time. I could tell that I was getting some sort of like repetitive stress fracture in my right foot. And I think that's probably because of the shoes I wore. Yeah, it was just a lot of moments in the entire race, like learning moments where I really am excited about Texas because now I know all the things that I did wrong and I know the things that I can really dial in on and optimize a faster time. But yeah, we got it done. Just came in just under that 13-hour kind of like sub goal that we had. I'm so new to it, and that was my first Ironman, and I have so much room to grow. You take that optimized time of like a 12:15 if that timing chip mishap hadn't happened, and then we take an hour and 10, ideally a little bit more off based on the gains we make during this next training block. Yeah, Ironman Texas, we're trying to come in 11:10, sub 11 if we really can dial everything in. Yeah, I just have this insatiable hunger to just do more and more and more and more. And yeah, I can't wait for this next training block. I can't wait to really dial in on efficiency. I can't wait to just continue just grinding it out and put my body through the ringer so we can achieve these results that we want. But yeah, Ironman Texas, April 26th, saying it here now. We're going 11:10, ideally sub 11, but 11:10.